What's going on, guys? It is the month of August. It is hot, no matter where you're at in the country, but fishing is still good. There's still plenty of fishing to be had. Today we're going to go over some of our top baits for the month of August. So to start, let's talk about one of my favorite ways to catch bass, possibly of all the different ways to catch bass, and that is flipping a big weight. Big heavy braid, big weight, big hook, flipping into heavy cover. It's such a fun way to catch bass, and it can be really good the month of August. The grass is finally really starting to top out in a lot of places. Again, up north, up here where we're at, we got wild rice mats, we got cabbage mats. Down south, hydrilla mats, cheese mats, you name it. Across the country, flipping a big weight can be really good in the month of August. We have on here just a Bronco bug. I like having a couple different presentations, something big and bulky like this that's easy for those bass to find in the mat, but at the same time having something like a rage craw where sometimes, especially up north, they don't want a super big heavy weight falling really fast, especially if it's a little bit sparser mats that I'm flipping. Something like a rage craw, a little bit slimmer profile, slips into those mats a little bit easier. Having a couple different plastics there, but again, flipping a big weight with a handful of different plastics, super fun way to catch them in the month of August. Next up, let's talk about buzz baits. This is one of those baits where, again, might come to mind more in the springtime, but there's something about the fall time too. Again, obviously a lot of places, what first comes to mind is bass going offshore, but once we start to creep into August, there's also still a lot of bass that will head towards shade, head towards cooler areas, especially in places down south where it just gets so hot. Sometimes they just want to go to the cooler water. Those bass that are up shallow, feeding on bluegills, feeding on crayfish and whatnot, heading up shallow with a buzzbait, covering water, targeting shade lines. That's one of my favorite places to throw a buzzbait. It can be something where you can just drive around looking for exactly what you want to see. You see a willow tree hanging over, throw that buzzbait, skip it up under there. Super fun way to catch them. On a buzzbait, again, up north, down south. Next up, this is one for a little bit of our northern audience, the old jigworm. This catches fish across the country, but any place where you have submerged grass. Again, August, the grass is in full bloom. In a lot of our lakes, it's topped out. It's the highest, it's the greenest it's gonna be all year. And a jigworm, awesome way to catch bass. All it is just a jig head threading on a Senko style bait. Boom, that's all it is. And you throw it out there, let it sink, let it get in the grass. A lot of times they'll grab it on the fall. You can snap it out of grass. A lot of times they'll bite it on the snap. Just one of those baits that I just love having on for breaking down a lake, finding bass. It also catches big bass. But again, whether you're a beginner just trying to break down a new lake or someone that's been fishing forever, a jigworm is just an awesome way to catch tons of bass when you're fishing deep grass in the month of August. Next up, we got Old Faithful, the old ball and chain. This is a fun one, again, for offshore bassing. This is where this comes to mind. Up north, a lot of our clear lakes that have deep rock. Once it gets hot, the bluegills, the crappies, they all head out to the deep weed lines, the deep rock, and it's really tough to beat a Carolina rig dragging this out deep. But again, this also goes for down south, places where there's ledge bass. Anywhere that there is deep offshore bass that are typically around harder structure, rock, a hard spot, something like that, the old ball and chain. Everyone knows the old Carolina rig, and for good reason. It just gets bit. I love throwing a creature style bait like we've got here. Like we have the Pro Hog here. I also have the Rage Hawk. Similar styles of just a creature bait that just, again, has a lot of action to it. I also like mixing it up, throwing a fluke on the back. You can even just do a straight tail worm. There's a lot that you can put on the back of a Carolina rig. Part of what makes it so versatile and such a fish catcher is that you can give them a lot of different looks bait wise. But the old ball and chain, again, deep bass. When it's hot in August, those bass want to head for cooler water out deep. The good old Carolina rig. And last but not least, this one's for the smallmouth guys. We're talking Ned Rigs. Again, the month of August, it's hot, hot, hot. A lot of the lakes are the hottest they're gonna get all year. Smallmouth, they'll head deeper a lot of times. They'll head to that 15, 20 foot depth range. And I love throwing a Ned rig. A lot of times this time of year, A lot of the bait fish is really small from the spring hatch, starting to finally get a little bit bigger. A lot of smallmouth are really keying in on smaller crayfish, smaller perch, and those fish that are hanging around boulders, hanging around grass lines. Throwing a Ned rig is such an effective way to target smallmouth. Again, whether it's the Great Lakes or the natural lakes up north, wherever you got smallmouth present, again, anywhere from 15, 20 foot, somewhere in there. That seems to be when I go for a Ned rig most. But again, the beauty with this is just like those other baits that we were talking about, is just how simple it can be to fish this bait. Sometimes they want it popping, snapping, but a lot of times I'll just throw this out. That Elastec just makes that bait stand up right in the smallmouth's face, just drives them nuts. So throwing a Ned in the month of August around some deeper smallmouth, super effective bait. So those are our top 5 baits for the month of August. Obviously, there's a lot more out there that catch bass during the month of August. Let us know what you're throwing this month. Whether you're a smallmouth guy, largemouth guy, we want to know what you're throwing in the month of August. But be sure to keep a lookout for next month's video on our top baits for the month of September.